What's up guys, Jeff from Sorta Healthy here, and today I'll be talking about garage personal training studios or gyms. Imagine a world where you can wake up 20 minutes before your first session of the day, mosey on over to the kitchen, grab your preferred caffeinated beverage and a quick bite to eat, then without skipping a beat, you can walk a very short distance to your place of work. No driving anywhere, no extra hassle, and best of all, no sharing money with a greedy corporate gym. It's your facility, and that means you get all the profit. Sounds pretty awesome, right? Well, it can be, but as always, everything isn't quite what it seems. And that brings us to our video today. What are the pros and cons of starting a garage facility? And ultimately, who should start their own garage studio and who shouldn't? These are the main questions that we will try to answer in this video. Before we get into all that, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. Both of those things really help the channel to grow, and that allows me to keep making free content for all of you. Thank you so much for that support, everyone. I really do appreciate it. On to the rest of the video. A quick question to all of you. Is it your goal to open a garage personal training studio? Make sure to let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. I always like hearing what you guys have going on. So on to the pros and cons of garage studios. The first pro, and this is the most obvious one, is that they're cheap. For better or worse, I'm sure many of you are thinking about starting a garage studio for this reason in particular. And make no mistake, the fact that garage studios are relatively inexpensive is huge. If you're looking to start a garage studio in many areas of the country, you can get away with only spending a few hundred to a few $1,000s initially. Dumbbells are pretty cheap, bands cost next to nothing, even racks and barbells aren't too bad. Throw down some decent rubber flooring, jazz the place up a bit, get some basic equipment, and you're good to go. Of course, some locations may require a bit more upfront cost, but typically these garage studios are a relatively small investment. The biggest advantage though is that instead of paying for 2 rents / mortgages, which is what many small business owners have to do, you'll only be responsible for 1 space. This also applies to utilities as well. Paying for utilities in 2 locations sucks, and of course with a home studio, you don't have to worry about that. Believe it or not, all of this gets even better. Not only do you have low expenses with a garage studio, but those expenses that you do have can be used as tax deductions as well. You'll be able to write off a portion of your mortgage in many cases, and you'll be able to write off a portion of your electricity, internet, cell phone, and a bunch of other bills too. When you work for yourself, tax deductions like these are essential, and a garage studio gives you lots of them. With the guidance of an accountant, this should help to keep those pesky government tax payments manageable. The first con of having a garage studio is that they only work well in certain locations. There's 2 layers to this, so let me explain what I mean. The first thing of note here is that some areas really just don't have the best weather for supporting a garage studio. Parts of the country that have warmer, drier climates tend to work well. In those areas, you'll still have to find a way to get air conditioning into your garage, but heating won't be much of an issue. Small space heaters will probably get the job done when needed. In colder areas of the country though, these garage studios are either not viable at all or very tough to pull off. Garages typically don't have heating vents or insulation like the rest of a house. And even if you were to put those things into a garage, which would likely be very pricey, you'd constantly be losing heat through the door itself. I'm sure it's possible to pull a studio like this one off in a colder area, but you'd have to spend a ton of money on heat, insulation, and other materials to make it work. The second layer of this is a legal one, and it's overlooked by trainers very, very often. In many areas, it's illegal to have a personal training studio in your garage. That's all there is to it. Now, what are the odds of getting in trouble for having a garage personal training studio in an area where they're illegal? Honestly, in some spots you could probably get away with having a garage studio forever and no one would care. In other areas, one of your neighbors or even competitors might rat you out within a week, so pick your location carefully. I will say this from my experience, if you don't cause an increase in traffic or much extra noise for your neighbors, no one's really going to care what you do. That said, you should check with your local zoning department to see if a garage studio is legal in your area before you set one up. The next pro of a garage studio is that they're incredibly convenient in a lot of ways. Not having to commute to work is awesome. There's really no other way to put it. You really do end up saving a good amount of money on gas, and you get a fair amount of time back that would be lost to commuting. This is especially great when we're talking about a job like training. Maybe you have a few hours between clients. You can literally literally just go relax in your living room a few hundred feet away. Maybe you're hitting your own workout at 1 p.m. and your next client's session is at 3. You can do your own workout, shower in your own house, grab a quick snack, and still easily make it to your 3 p.m. session. I don't think we have to say any more here. Some parts of having a home studio are awesome, and overall convenience is one of the primary reasons why that is. My next con of having a garage studio is that there is a lack of separation between your personal and work life. So we talked about how convenient garage or home studios can be, but unfortunately, there is a dark side to that as well. There's an obvious aspect to this, as in all of your clients and potential clients will not only know where you live, but they will be coming into your house on a regular basis. I probably don't have to go into too much detail on why this could be a negative thing. There are definitely some crazy people out there, and by putting your address out for all to see and inviting people into your home, on some level, you're putting yourself at risk. How big of a concern should this be to you? Only you can decide that. There's another part of this lack of separation of personal and work life that people almost never think about, and it can be life-altering in a very negative way. It's tough, sometimes impossible, to get proper liability insurance to protect your assets when you're training clients in your own home. So for those who don't know, I had a home studio, not a garage studio, but close enough, and I used that space to train clients for about a year. In that year time span, I looked into a bunch of insurance policies to protect myself on the off chance that a client ever got injured on my property. We're not just talking about in the home fitness facility, by the way. Clients could slip walking into your house, getting back into their car, or whatever. People get hurt in stupid ways all the time, and if it happens on your property, well, in that case, you're liable. Let's just say that if someone with bad intentions wanted to sue you after being in your home, they could do some real damage. Anyways, in my year of running a home studio, I never found a good insurance policy to cover my needs. There were very expensive rider plans that would have drastically increased my homeowner's insurance, and there were liability plans that were less expensive, but who knows how effective they would have been had something bad actually happened. My next pro of having a garage studio is that you can make considerably more money. I think everyone watching this video knows that self-employed trainers have the ability to make more cash. This is even more the case in a home studio. Not only do you not have to pay a gym a percentage of your sessions, you don't even have to pay anyone rent, which most independent trainers do have to do that. This does put you in a position where you can make some pretty solid pay. If you're doing 25 sessions a week and you're charging $75 a session, which is a very reasonable price for an hour, you'll make about $92,000, assuming that you're taking off 3 weeks in that year. Of course, you're self-employed, so your taxes could be significant on that almost $92,000, but you'd still be doing pretty well for yourself, much better than the average trainer who's only making $40-something thousand. This potential to make more cash isn't all rainbows and butterflies though. Because owning a garage studio makes you a small business owner, that means you'll most likely be working more than you'd think if you go this route, and that's our next con. When you run your own business, regardless of the type, you'll be working more hours than you'd expect. For starters, finding and signing on all clients is now your sole responsibility. You won't have a revolving door of prospects on the gym floor anymore. All you'll have is your own space. Because of this, you'll want to do a whole bunch of different things to market your services. Just to name a few, you'll want to network with other professionals, you'll want to attend local events such as Chamber of Commerce meetings, and you'll want to create a website and social media pages for your local business. And to those people who say things like, you don't need social media or a website to have a training business, I hear that one way more often than I should. Well, to that I say, no shit. You don't need almost anything in particular to have a training business. The question should never be, what do I need? It should always be, what will get me the best ROI, return on investment, and what will serve myself and my clients the best. Social media accounts are free and websites are cheap as hell to make now. If you're going to have your own in-person business, you should absolutely have both. Anyways, networking, social media, website design, and all the other things that come along with running a small business take quite a bit of time and energy to get done. In a home studio, you'll also be responsible for all of the financial aspects of running a business too. That means more time devoted to collecting payments, doing taxes, and other miscellaneous tasks as well. Also, when you run a garage studio, you'll almost certainly be working alone. In most places, the legal and liability aspects of running a garage studio are already questionable. There would be very few, maybe no situations where you could have employees working in your garage facility. That means when you want to go on vacation, or if you're sick, sick, you have no coverage, everything is on you. So when looking back on these pros and cons, the question becomes, who should actually open a garage personal training studio? If you're thinking about opening a garage studio, you should be able to comfortably say yes to 4 different questions. Question 1, do I live or want to live in a warm area with relatively stable weather? Question 2, are garage studios legal in the town that I want to work? Question 3, am I okay with running my own small business and all the challenges that come with that? Question 4, am I okay with working alone? If you said yes to all 4 questions, then congratulations. You should consider looking into and saving up for a garage studio. If I asked myself those 4 questions, I would have to say no to the first 2. My home studio is in Connecticut and it's cold here for most of the year. It's also illegal to have a garage studio in my town. I checked just in case. Because of those things, I bought a multifamily house and lived in one side and then trained clients in the other side. This can be a really good alternative to the garage studio. I later transitioned from that home studio to a more standard commercial space because I wanted to hire employees and needed more room, but that's a conversation for a different day. Anyways, do you agree or disagree with what I've said about garage studios? Do any of you have any questions about them? Make sure to let me know in the comments down below. And if you haven't done so already, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel, because both of those things really do help the channel to grow, and that allows me to create more free content for all of you. Thanks for watching, everyone, and until next time, stay sort of healthy.